Welcome to LIVEDAF, your online Daf Yomi shir.
Shalom, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, Shabbos Daf Samach Zayin. We're on the last line of Samach Vavam and Beis, the last few words. Omar Rav Huna, the Gemara will continue giving us, describing various therapeutic methods which have a healing and curing capabilities. Omar Rav Huna le'ishsa tilsa. If one is suffering from a condition of ishsa tilsa, which is a fever which returns every 3 days, what is he meant to do to combat this condition? Laisi shiva silvi. He should bring 7 small branches. Mishiva dikli, from 7 palm trees. What else should he bring? Vishiva tzivi, and 7 splinters. Mishiva kishuri, from 7 wooden beams. Vishiva sichi, 7 pegs. Mishiva gishuri, from 7 bridges. Vishiva ktimi, 7 portions of ash. Mishiva tanuri, from 7 ovens. Vishiva afri, 7 portions of earth. Mishiva sanari, from 7 from underneath 7 doors. This is the indentation in the ground where the hinge where the hinge rests and turns in. So from that area, from this hole in the ground under the door, this hinge hole, he should take some dirt, some earth. So he should bring 7 portions from under 7 doors. Vishiva kufri, 7 portions of kufri's pitch. Mishiva arbi, from 7 ships. Vishiva buni, 7 handfuls of kamuni. This is cumin, this type of seasoning. So 7 handfuls of these. Vishiva bini, and 7 hair. Midikna, from a beard. The kalva sava, from a old dog. V'litzarinu b'chalola deveitzavar. He should wrap all these items together. B'chalola deveitzavar, hang it underneath his neck by the opening of his shirt. B'nira barka, he should wrap them together using a nira barka, which is a strand of hair. So this will address his condition of ishta tilsa, this fever that returns every 3 days. Amar b'yechanan le'ishta tzmirta. This is a different type of feverish condition, something which it encompasses his whole body. Le'ishta tzmirta, Rashi says it's choilish mechamemes, it heats up v'kudeches es haguf, the entire body. So what is he meant to do? Lishkel sakina, he should get a knife, the kula parzla, which is completely made of iron. V'lezel, he should go lehicha, the ika vardina, he should go find a bush, a sneh bush. This is the bush described in the Torah where Hashem revealed himself to Moshe Rabbeinu. This bush called a sneh. V'likter beinira barka. He should tie onto this bush a strand of hair and proceed as follows. Yoim Akama, the first day, lachur kveipurta, he should engrave a little bit into this bush. V'leima, he should say the following pasuk. This once again is the pasuk describing the encounter of Moshe Rabbeinu with Hashem, with the Shechina on Har Sinai, before Moshe Rabbeinu went back to Mitzrayim to take Klal Yisrael out. So this was the revelation at the Sneh. And it says, Vayera Malach Hashem Elov. Hashem revealed, the Malach Hashem revealed to him to reveal himself to Moshe Rabbeinu, Belabes Eish, from this, with this fire, with this vision of fire, Miteichas Sneh, etc. So this pasuk, he is meant to say on the first day of his procedure here, this sick man. L'machar, on day number 2, lichrog beipurta, he should engrave a bit more into this sneh. V'leima, he should say the next pasuk. Vayomer Moshe, after Moshe noticed this vision, he said, Asurna, let me turn aside ve'era and take a look. She's meant to say this whole pasuk. So day number 2, engrave a little bit more and say pasuk number 2. L'machar, on the following day, lichrog beipurta, he should engrave a bit more into this bush. V'leima, and then he should say the following pasuk, which is Vayar Hashem, Kisar Lirois. Hashem saw that he turned aside to take a look. Vayikra Velakim, Hashem called out to him. Miteichasneh, and the pasuk concludes Vayomer Moshe Hinei, Vayomer Moshe Moshe. He called out to Moshe, Vayomer Hinei. Moshe says, yes, here I am. So these 3 psukim are meant to be recited consecutively throughout the 3-day procedure here. Amalei Rav Acha, Breidu Rava Rav Ashi. So Rav Acha, the Breidu Rava told Rav Ashi, why do we stop by this pasuk? There's actually another pasuk. Now Rashi explains that the purpose, the semblance of the final pasuk of Ayar Hashem, Ki Sar Lirois, so the word Sar means to turn aside. Says Rashi, Sheyasar HaChoili. Sar resembles the concept of turning aside, getting away. And this is meant to be have an effect on this condition, on this sickness, that the Choili, the illness, should also turn aside. Now Rav Acha, the Rava told Rav Ashi, we have another pasuk, which is also pretty appropriate. V'leima, why doesn't he say the additional pasuk? This is pasuk number 4, following those 3 psukim, which says, Vayomer, Al Trikrav Halayim. Hashem tells him, don't get close to here, don't come close. Shal no lechem al grecha, remove your shoes. This place is a admas kodesh, a place of holiness. So Rav Acha maintains that it's appropriate for him to say this pasuk as well. Why? As Rashi explains, Al Tikrav Halayim means don't get close to us, don't get close to here. Halayim means don't get close to this area. And it would also be appropriate for the sickness. You're addressing the sickness and saying that the remez here will be that it should have an effect on the sickness. Just as you say this pasuk, Atikr Aloim, so to the sickness should not be yikrav, should not get close to, meaning he should get rid of this sickness. Therefore, Rav Acha Rava maintains that he's meant to say this pasuk as well. And therefore he rearranges the recital of the psukim, Ella rather, L'yoyim Ekam on the first day, Leima, Vayera Malach Hashem Elav, Vayoyim Moshe. So he's meant to say both psukim number 1 and 2. Ulamach on the following day, Leima should say the next pasuk, Vayar Hashem Kisor Lirois, where there's an indication of the sickness, turning aside Sar. On the following day, he should also include the next pasuk. Ulamachar, he should say the 4th pasuk, Vayoymer, Al Tikrav Halayim, and this is a remez once again, so that the sickness should not stay near this person and should leave him. So once again, there are 2 versions here. According to the first version of the Gemara, day number 1 he says one pasuk, day number 2 the next pasuk, day number 3 the next pasuk. According to Rav Acha the Rava, on day number 1 he says pasuk number 1, number 2. Day number 2 he says pasuk number 3, and pasuk number 4 on the next day. Continues the Gemara, v'chi pasukle. So when his sickness leaves him, it terminates. Lit to say, he should take this sneh bush and bend it down, v'lifsakei, and he should sever it from the ground. So he bends it down and cuts it off. V'leima hachi, and he should say as follows: Hasneh hasneh. He should address the bush and say, "You sneh, love mishum de gvias mikoliloni." It's not on account of your tallness, the fact that you're higher than all the trees. That's not the reason why Ashri HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shchinte Allah, that Hashem rested His Shechina on you. Ella, rather, Mishum de Maichas. Quite the contrary, because you're humble, because you're lower than all the trees. The Maichas, you're lower Mikolilani than all of the trees. That's the reason. That is the exact siba why Ashri Kutshabich Shchinte Allah, why Hashem rested His Shechina on you, on account of your humility of your anava. So this is his recital, and he concludes by saying, "V'chiyechi, d'chamite eshasa," just as the fire saw l'chananya mishol v'azariah. So this was when Nebuchadnezzar threw them into the furnace, and they were miraculously saved by a nace. And he references to that story. He says, just as the fire saw them, kiyechi, just like the chamite eshasa, the fire saw, the chamite saw Chananya mishol v'azariah v'arikas, and ran away mikadamai from them. Similarly, in my case, this fire, this fever, should see Pliny bar Pliny, the son of this woman, meaning himself, and should flee from before him. So this is the conclusion of this recital, this therapeutic procedure, which is meant to address his fever, his illness, and help him get rid of it. Then Mashayas Akasha. The Gemara tells us elsewhere, one is not meant to be misrapi, using the Torah. One is not meant to recite a pasuk to combat, to address, to heal, to cure an illness. So how does the Gemara tell us that one can recite these psukim in order to provide a cure? First condition. Says the Maharsha, when the Gemara tells us a pasuk is not meant to be used for refuah, we're referring to refuah's haguf, in order to address a physical ailment. a physical phenomenon, a physical chayli. However, if one recognizes that, yes, these physical symptoms are merely they're a result, they're rooted in spiritual in a spiritual ailment, a spiritual shortcoming that he's guilty of. So in this case, he's not directly addressing his physical situation, his gashmistic illness. Rather, he's going to address the source, the root cause of these symptoms, which is his ruchnius shortcomings, his ruchnius, his spiritual deficiencies, his spiritual ailment. And when he says these psukim, he's coming to rebalance, reconfigure his ruchnius situation. And as a result, indeed, when he remedies his spirituality, subsequently these symptoms, the physical symptoms, will also be addressed and taken care of. And that's why the Gemara ends with the reference to the humility, the anava of the sneh, because when a person is humble before Hashem, he's doing tshuva from his arrogance and his gaiva, and he humbles himself and he's an anav. He addresses his spiritual ailment. Yes, indeed, subsequently his physical situation will improve. So once again, the refuah here is primarily directed at the ruchnius aspect of the person. Therefore, it's allowed. Continues the Gemara, Lissimta. What about a condition called simta? Rashi says this is a shchin, some sort of boil. So how does he address this illness? Leima hachi. He's meant to say as follows. And Rashi explains this is merely a recital. This is a chant with very, very minimal. We don't really have much understanding in these words. So this is what he's meant to say. Baz, baze, mas, masya, kas, kase. Rashi says actually these words are names of malachim. So bazbaze is because they come and they tear up these boils, and masmasye is they're coming to heal it, and kaskase coming to grind it up. So these are, he's referencing the malachim, which have these tasks, which will come heal his sickness. Sharloi varmeloi ilain malachi. So these are names of malachim. The shtalchum are the stoim who sent for stoim. Rashi says that in actuality they don't come from stoim, but this is the wording of the lachash, the recital, the chant that he's meant to say to for the curing of this illness. Continues the Gemara, ula asa, in order to cure shchina ki'ivin, some sort of painful boils, he's meant to say as follows. Once again, this is a lachash, a chant. Bazach, bazich, bazbezech, masmasech, kamoin, kamich, einayich bich. So bazbezech, masmasich, once again, is referencing the fact that the malachim, the names of the malachim that will tear up the boils, bazbazich, they will tear up the boils, and masmasich, they will come cure the boils. Kamain kamich, this is part of the lachash. Einayich bich, your redness, your color should remain intact, should be contained and not spread. Einayich bich, your color should stay as it is and not develop further. As asreich bach, your place should remain there, meaning you shouldn't go ahead and multiply and spread. Zarech, your seed, kikolut, should be like a sterile man who doesn't have the ability to reproduce, like his seed, which is kolut, locked in his stomach. So you also shouldn't have the ability to spread further. Ukepreda, your seed should be like a mule, which doesn't have the ability to reproduce. The leipara, v'loirabia, it doesn't reproduce and doesn't multiply. Kach, similarly, loisifre, v'loisirba, these boils should not multiply and reproduce and multiply begufi, in the body of the pliny, in the body of this person. Lekipa, another sort of boils, what should he say? Leimach, he says follows. Cheref shlufa, a drawn sword, the kela natusha, this is a slingshot which is also spread out. Lo ishmei yoichav, choylin umach oiven, sicknesses and pains, leshida, choyl mach oiven, sicknesses and pains. So this is the lachash, the recital that he says for this condition of kippah. What about leshida, one who was struck by a shade, by a demon? Leimach, this is what you should say. Havis, the pakik havas. Havis. Lita means cursed. Tavar means broken. Or meshumas means lashon of shamtav nida, excommunicated. So this is how he addresses he makes reference to this shade, this demon. It should be cursed, broken, and excommunicated. Bar Tit, a product, a son of mud. Bar Tameh, a son of impurity. Bar Tina, a son of clay. Ke Shamgaz, Merigaz, Vistemoy. Okay, this is the end of this recital. Lishida, the Beis HaKisei. What if one was affected by the shade which resides in a Beis HaKisei? Le'miachi. This is what he should say. Akarkafi de Ari, on the head of a lion. Ve'ausi, the gurios, on the nostrils of a lioness, a female lion. Ashkrachton, lishidoi. I encountered the shade. Which shade? Bar Shirika. This is his name. Bar Shirika Panda. This is his name. B'meisha de Karsi, in a row of leek. Chavte, I've knocked him down. Beloya de Chamer, using a loya, a cheek of a donkey. Chatarte, I have struck him. So these are a list of different procedures and chants that one is meant to address to these various illnesses in order to bring cure and healing. Now, interesting that the Yam Shel Shlomo actually brings that there's a Cherem HaKadmonim of the early generations, a ban not to engage in these therapeutic procedures because perhaps we're not really expert in how to implement them, and also on account of the progression of the generation, the change of the nature amongst the population. Perhaps these things won't be effective, and it will come to result in the people ridiculing the words of Chachamim. Therefore, one is not meant to engage in these therapeutic procedures. Continues the Gemara, getting back to our Mishnah, that Mishnah told us that B'nai Malachim, princes may go out and just around wearing these zugin, these gold bells, which are considered to be ornaments for them. And the Mishnah actually told us that not only princes are allowed, any person, any one of Bnei Yisrael, v'chol adam, any person. So the Gemara goes as follows. We know that there's a discussion later on in the Masechta whether any person can choose to use rose oil, to anoint himself with rose oil, shem nevered, which is something meant for noblemen, something meant for princes. So an ordinary person, a commoner, is not accustomed to smearing himself with this rose oil. So perhaps it looks like he's engaging in a remedy, in a refuah on Shabbos. The Chachamim did not allow him to do that. So only the Bnei Malachim, princes, may do that, but not an ordinary person, since it appears as though he's involved in a health procedure. He is considered to be it looks like a master refuah. According to Reb Shimon, we allow anybody to do so. Why? Reb Shimon says, Kol Yisrael, Bnei Malachim him. All of Klal Yisrael regard as Bnei Malachim, as princes. And therefore, any Jew who chooses to smear this shemen vera, this rose oil on Shabbos, is allowed because he's considered to be a prince. He's allowed to engage in the practices and the customs of Bnei Malachim. Now, our Mishnah as well, which allows any person to wear these bells, these golden bells, which is really more appropriate and suitable for the princes rather than the commoner, appears to be following the Shita of Shimon. Because otherwise, perhaps there's a concern that since it's not really befitting this person, it's not really suitable for an ordinary man, then perhaps he'll remove it on Shabbos when he walks in the street and he elicits some derisive comments from passerby. What are you doing wearing this royal ornament? Perhaps he'll be tempted to remove it on account of his shame. Or alternatively, since it's something so unique and a novelty, it's unusual for an ordinary person to wear this, perhaps he'll remove it to display it to his friend. So there's a concern of it being transported in Shusarabim. The Mishnah which allows any person to wear these bells, apparently we found the sheet of Reb Shimon, who allows these royal customs to be applied to any sort of person, any one of Yisrael, because we are considered to be Bnei Malachim. We are the sons of Hashem, we are princes. Let's take a look inside. Mantana, who is the Shita reflected in our Mishnah, which allows any person to wear these bells? Amar v'yosher Reb Shimoni. It's Reb Shimon the Amar Kol Yisrael B'nei Malachim. Rava Amar, no, actually our Mishnah is following even the other Shita, which does not regard Yisrael as B'nei Malachim with regard to that rose oil. It is only allowed for actual princes, but not for ordinary people. So why in our case, in our mission, is it different? It says Rava ba'ore b'ksusa. We're speaking about that his belly is woven onto his garment. V'divrei hakol, and therefore it's following all shittas, all opinions, because in this case there's absolutely no concern that he will remove it. It's firmly attached to his garment. There's no chashash of removal of it being transported in Shus Rabbim. Continues the Mishnah. Yoitzin bebeitas hachargal. One may go out in Shus Rabbim wearing this egg, this locust egg. The Gemara will soon explain what this is used for. Ubeshein shol, or with a tooth of a fox. Ubemasmer min atzolov, a nail taken from the gallows. Mishum refuah, on account of refuah. These things have healing capabilities, and therefore it can be worn on Shabbos, regarded as a tachshit. It's not considered to be a masur. Divrei v'chachamim oishrim, not only on Shabbos, even during the weekdays. Af b'choil, one may not engage in these customs, in these form of refuah. Why? Mishum darkei ha'amori. These are considered to be the customs of the Amorites, the nations lived in Amori was one of the nations living in Eretz Yisrael at the time. So the pasuk tells us one is not meant to follow the customs of the non-Jews, the Amorim or the Canaanim, and this is regarded as a custom, as a minig of the Amorim, and therefore one is not meant to engage in these forms of refuah. Continues the Gemara, Yoitzim bebeitas hachargal. One may wear this egg. What's the point and purpose here? The avdi l'shichla. They hang it on a person who's suffering from an earache. Ubeshein shel shul. Why was one wear this tooth of a fox? The avdi l'shinsa, in order to address one's erratic sleeping patterns. So there's two formats here. The chaya, they take a tooth of a living fox, hang it on a person who's suffering from overdrowsiness. Laman denayim. This is meant to wake him up a bit. The misa, they take or alternatively, they take a tooth from a dead fox and they hang it on a person that is suffering from insomnia. Laman denayim. So this tooth of this dead fox is meant to soothe him, calm him down, help him get back on track. Ubemasmer min asolov. They take this nail from a gallows. Why would they hang this on the person? What is it coming to address? The avdi lezirfa. It's coming to cure bloating, swelling that a person may have. Rashi says it's a nefach maka. A person gets swollen on account of being struck. So this is a refuah which is allowed according to Rameh. Mishum refuah divrei Rameh. Why? Because Rameh maintains that this is something which is therapeutic, which heals, which cures, and there's no concern of darkei ha'amori. Abaye and Rava both presented a quantification, a categorization of what is considered to be darkei ha'amori and what is not. Kol davar sheyesh ve'mishum refuah. Any activity, any ma'isa, which is regarded as refuah. For instance, Rashi says something which is visibly a ma'aser refuah. For instance, taking medicine, putting a tachboishes on a makkah, a bandage on a wound. These are visibly ma'aser refuah, remedial acts. Ein by mishum darkei ha'amori. There's no concern here of darkei ha'amori. And this indeed is the reason, is the basis for a mayor allowing one to wear these items, which are considered to be yesh by mishum refuah. Ha'ein by mishum refuah. But when something is not visibly a ma'isa refuah, therapeutic activity, yesh by mishum darkei ha'amori. Indeed, over there, it involves an isser. It can involve an isser of darkei ha'amori. For instance, Rashi says chanting a lachash, a chant, a recital, where it's not nikar, it's not evident and visible that there's some sort of correlation, connection between this chant and the desired results. So in that case, there is a concern of darkei ha'amori. Now the Rishonim ask that Rashi tells us that a lachash, a chant, is asur because of darkei ha'amori. We just finished the whole Gemara, which gave us various situations, scenarios where a person will address various illnesses by using chants and recitals. So the Rishonim say that these Gemaras are speaking about recitals and chants which are known to be effective to address and cure these illnesses. In which case we regard them as an act of refuah. It's a ma'aser refuah, and it's not asur b'shem darkei ha'amori. You're not simply following customs of the goyim. You're engaged in a ma'aser refuah. It's not categorized. It's not qualified and regarded as a Maaseh Darkei Amori. You're doing a remedial procedure. However, in situations where the recitals are not known to prove beneficial, in those cases we regard them as Darkei Amori and they're Asr. One is not meant to follow the customs of the non-Jews. Some of them are meaningless, some of them are superstitious, connected with magic, perhaps connected with Avodah Zarah. So that's how we draw that distinction, according to these Rishonim, between these chants mentioned now Gemara, which are known to provide cure, as opposed to other sorts of lachashim and chants, which are regarded as Darkei Amori. Once again, says the Gemara, Kol davar sheyesh mishum refuah, ein bo mishum Darkei Amori. Something which was regarded as a ma'aser refuah, as visibly a remedial procedure, there's no concern of Darkei Amori. Now Rashi learns that the Gemara here is beginning a kasha. Ha, ein bo mishum refuah. You mean to imply that something which does not have that characteristic, for instance, a recital of a lachash, yesh bo mishum Darkei Amori. There is a concern there of Darkei Amori, something which is not clear and evident to bring about these healing and curing results. V'atanya, we learned in the Bryce, Elon shemeshe pereisav, a tree which sheds its fruit, it's an overly vital tree. Soikre b'sikra, he paints it using red paint, v'toyene be'avanim, and loads it up with stones. Says, well, let's try to understand what he's doing here. B'shleim toyene be'avanim. We understand the point of burdening this tree with stones. To weaken its energy, to diminish its vitality. Perhaps by doing so, it will stop sharing its fruit prematurely. So this is a direct effect. It's not considered to be something superstitious or Maaseh Amori. It's something which has a direct effect. It's a scientifically based procedure. However, painting this with red paint, my refuah ka'avid. What type of refuah? What type of visible ma'aser refuah is he doing? It seems like he's engaged in some sort of custom which is not really understood, and this should be asr. It's considered to be Darkei Amori. So once again, if you maintain that the only time something is mutter is if when he's doing something which has a clear connection with the results, it's a visible ma'aser refuah, then it's mutter, but otherwise it's asr. In this case, painting the tree red should be asr. Says the Gemara, the point here is not to address its illness or its shedding the fruit directly. It's not a supernatural application here. Rather, it's a very simple thing that he's doing. He's coming to draw attention to his tree. So that passerby should see it, should pay attention to this tree which is painted red. And they should go daven for this tree, beg mercy that the tree should perform properly. As we learned this concept in the following brayso. V'tamei, tamei yikra. Tamei is referring to the Metzuri. He should call out, tamei. What does that mean? He's calling out to everybody. You should know, I'm a Metzuri, I'm tamei. Why is he doing that? He's meant to inform the public of his tsar, of his misfortune, so that v'rabim, yivakshol of rachmim, that the public should go down for him. So the point here is to publicize the trouble that he is experiencing. And here too, regarding the tree, he places the stones in order to have a physical effect on the tree. But the point of the red paint is merely to call attention to the situation, so that the public will daven for this tree. Amar Ravina, Kiman. According to whose shita, Talinan kuvisi bedikla. This practice of hanging Talinan kuvisi, these dates bedikla on this palm tree which is shedding its fruit prematurely. So Kiman, according to who, Talinan do we hang kuvisi, the dates bedikla on this tree, Ki Aitana, in accordance with this Tana, that we're meant to do something to call attention to its situation. Therefore we hang the dates, which will indicate that this tree is having problems, so that everybody should daven for the tree. Continues the Gemara. Tani Tana. So this chacham, this scholar, he presented some brises beperek amoroi. So there's a perek in the Tosefta Masechah Shabbos which discusses the various customs of the Amorim. So he presented, he he taught this, he presented this, he recited this, these brises, this perek, in front of the Kamei, the Rav Chia bar Avin. Amrle, so he responded, Rav Chia bar Avin responded as follows: Kulu, indeed, all those contained in that perek, all those customs, isbu, mishum darkei mori, they're regarded as darkei mori and they're asur. Levar mehani, except for the following two customs. The following two remedial procedures. Number one, mishi yesh le etzem begroine, one who has a bone stuck in his throat. Maybe moise amin, he should bring a bone from that same type of bone. Umanech le kodkode, and place it on his skull. V'lei mahachin, he should recite as follows: Chad noches, one by one. It should one should go down. Bola and get swallowed. Bola noches chad chad. Rashi says this is a lachash, a chant. So this is not a problem. Apparently, this Rav Chia bar Avin knew that this wasn't something which was customary for the Morim to do. What is another example of something which is mutter? La'adra, le'idra, to a fish bone that also got stuck in his throat. Le'mach, he should say as follows: and then atzta, you've got stuck, you've got lodged, kemachat, like a needle. And then alta, you've become locked in there. Kitris, like a shutter which is closed. Shaya, go down. So these recitals are mutter, they're not regarded as darkei mori. Continues the Gemara. The Gemara will give us some various examples of different customs of the Amorim, which are asur. These things, some of them are meaningless, perhaps they're considered to be nichush, superstition, magic, or relating to Avodah Zarah. We're not meant to adopt any of these chants or practices. Says the Gemara, for instance, so Omer, God Gedi. So God means it should strengthen. Gedi, my mazel. Rashi says smazel mazli. My mazel, my good fortune should increase. V'sonoik loy. And don't be oyev. Don't be complacent and tired. V'sonik loy ashchi ubushchi. Ashchi means by day. Day ubushchi means night. So this is a chant. My good luck, good fortune should strengthen, and he shouldn't be weak and tired by day and at night. Yesh boy b'shem darkei mori. This is regarded as a custom of a mori. Rabbi Omer. Actually, it's much worse than that. There's a lav here, a lav regarding Avodah Zarah. Why? Because the word God is referencing an idol. God, Eine El Lashon Avodah Zarah. So not only is it regarded as darkei mori, but mentioning this, repeating this chant involves also saying, uttering the name of Avodah Zarah, which is also a lav. Shenemar, what do we find? That God is Eine El Lashon Avodah Zarah. Shenemar ha'urchem legod shulchan. We see that God is an Avodah Zarah. Hu b'shma, v'hi b'shmoi. This was another practice of the Goyim. At night they would swap their names. Hu b'shma, he would call himself with her name. V'hi b'shmoi, and she would call herself in his name. This is some sort of superstitious behavior. Yesh b'mishum darkei mori is regarded as a way of a mori. Dunu dani. Dani means my barrels. Duni should strengthen themselves. Yesh b'mishum darkei mori. Rabbi Omer. It's actually reciting the name of Avodah Zarah. Ein done a lashon Avodah Zarah. Shenemar hanishboim ba'ashma shemron v'amru chaya lehecha done. Continues the Gemara. Omer la'oire v'tzrach. So if he hears this raven calling out, crowing, so the Moriim, they regarded the ravens as bearers of bad news. So in order to switch things around, he would call out to the raven and say, Oire la'oire. He'd call to the raven and say, tzrach, crow. Urvasa, the female raven, shriek, you should shriek. And turn your tail to me for goodness, to augur good tidings. Doing this is considered to be darkei mori. Ha'omer, one who says, shachtu taran golzeh, you should slaughter this rooster. Why? Shekara arvis, because he called out later than all the other ones. Or he says, V'tarna goyles, go shech this hen, shekara garis, because when she crowed, she sounded like a male chicken. Yesh b'mishum darkei mori. This is regarded as darkei mori. Eshta v'oiser, one who announces, I'm going to drink v'oiser and I'll leave over. Eshta v'oiser, yesh v'mishdarkei mari. So he's doing it, as Rashi says, so that the bracha, blessing, should be found. This is called darkei mari. Hamavakeres baitzim bekoisel. So one has fresh chicks or young birds which have just hatched. So she takes the baitzim, the eggs from which they've come out, and she crushes them, and she goes and then places it on the wall. Hamavakas, samagoris hamakbas, beitzim bekoizel v'atoch v'nei efroichim. So she places the eggs on the wall. She crushes them in front of the new chicks. Yeshu v'shendarkei mori. She does it so that the chicks don't die. This is regarded as darkei mori. V'amegis v'nei efroichim. If one stirs his pot in front of these newly hatched chicks, in order so that they don't die, yesh boy mishum darkei mori. Continues the Gemara, hamar kedes, one who she dances, v'amoyne shivim ve'echad efrechem, she counts 71 chicks v'shushli musu, so that they don't die. Yesh boy mishum darkei mori. Hamar kedes lekutach. If she dances when she makes this kutach, this dip, she dances in front of him. This is also some form of superstition, so that the kutach dish should have an enhanced flavor, should have a strong flavor. So this is inappropriate. She quiets down the people there when she cooks her lentils, so that the lentils cook properly. And she has the people call out when she's cooking her beans. Yesh boy mishum darkei mori. All these things are regarded as darkei mori. Hamashtenes v'fnei rasa. If she passes water, urinates before her pot, meaning when something's cooking in the pot, b'shvil shatis bashal meira, so that it cooks fast. Yesh boy mishum darkei mori. That is also regarded as darkei mori. Continues the Gemara. But there are some things which are allowed, because they are scientifically based. They are just practical things. They're not considered to be meaningless or superstitious acts. For instance, aval noisnin kesam shaltus. One should take a splinter of a mulberry bush, v'shivrei schuches, or fragments of glass. And what is he going to do with these things? Because there he can place these splinters or these pieces of glass in a pot which is cooking. B'shvil shatis bashal meira, to expedite the cooking process. Chacham prohibit regarding the fragments of glass on account of danger. Perhaps it's going to remain in there in the dish and it may be swallowed. Tanar Rabbanan, we learned in Brisa some similar practices which are allowed. The noisen bull shel melach sechaner, when we place a handful of salt into the lamp, because the salt thins out the oil and enhances the burning process, so that it brightens and it properly lights. One can place tit, mud, v'charsis, clay, tachas, and underneath the lamp to cool it off. In order to cool it off, by cooling it off, what he's doing is prolonging the flame, because the fuel which has a cooler temperature doesn't burn as fast. So this is allowed. It's not regarded as maseh amori. Omer Rav Zucher. Some related topic. Hayman de michsi shraga de mishcha. One who covers over, places a lid over the lamp containing oil. By doing so, he increases the temperature of the oil, and it becomes consumed faster. Magli nafta, or he goes and uncovers the flame, the lamp containing nafta, this nafta fuel, and by doing so he expedites the burning process, because this nafta is very flammable and the fire will catch on to the remaining fuel and it's going to be consumed quickly. In both of these cases, it's not something to be done. He's over on the Isser Baltashas because he's unnecessarily wasting his fuel. Concludes the Gemara, another chant, which is actually mutter, is considered to be a bracha, and is not regarded as maseh amori. Chamra v'chaye lefum rabbanan. When they pour the wine One exclaims, wine, chamra b'chaya life, lefum rabbanon, to the mouths of rabbanon. The Gemara tells us elsewhere that wine actually enhances a person's mental capacity, makes a person sharp. So this is the announcement, wine and life to the mouths of rabbanon for their success. It's a lashon of bracha. One who says this, ein boy mishum darkei mori, there's no concern, because Rashi says it's a bracha. Maaseh, there was a story by Akiva, shasa mishel ibnoi, was making a wedding for a son. On every cup that he brought, Omar, he would announce this chant, Chamra v'chaya, this bracha, life, wine and life from Rabbanon to the mouths of the Rabbanon. Chaye v'chamra, life and wine from Rabbanon to the mouths of the Rabbanon, u'lefum talmideim, and to the mouths of their students as well. I once heard from Rabbi Yisrael Belsky Shlita that this is one of the sources and the curse of the common practice and minhag to say l'chaim when one takes a drink of wine. Chamra b'chayi l'fum rabbanon l'fum talmudeim. Hadran alach b'meisha. Continues the Gemara. Klal gadol omer b'Shabbos. The Chachamim provide a major rule. The Gemara will explain why this is regarded as a major rule. So this is a rule regarding Hilchas Shabbos. We know that there are 39 malachos, 39 forms of forbidden work, labor on Shabbos. They're regarded as 39 avos malachos, categories of malachos. If one transgresses, if it's b'mezid, he's liable for skila, being put to death by stoning through bezdin. If it's done inadvertently, b'shagi, unintentionally, he brings a chatas. We have three categories regarding the obligation of chiyav chatas. Three types of situations, three types of forgetfulness. Number one, says the Mishnah, Kol ha'sheicheach ikar Shabbos. One who forgets about the concept of Shabbos. He forgets about the fact that there is a mitzvah Shabbos in the Torah. And as a result, he does many malachos. V'asa malachos harbe, performs many malachos. B'shabboses harbe, throughout many Shabboses. In this case, how many karbonos does he bring? He only brings one. Einei chayiv ela chatas achas. Why? Because what was the shkoga? What was the forgetfulness? What was the chet here? The fact that he forgot about the ikar Shabbos. It was based, the malachos that he did were based on a single act of forgetfulness, a single shkoga, and therefore all the averos that he did are rooted in one shkoga, one forgetfulness, and one chatas is applied for all his malachos that he committed throughout many Shabboses. That's the first category. One chatas for all the malachos. Hayodeya ikar Shabbos. This is the next case. One is aware about the concept of Shabbos. He knows that there's a mitzvah of Shabbos, but he forgot that today was Shabbos. He miscalculated. It's Shabbos and he thought it was Friday. So he made a calendar miscalculation. And as a result of that, v'asa malachos harbe, v'shabbosos harbe, he performed many malachos throughout many Shabboses. So not only did he forget that today was Shabbos, but come next week, he again miscalculated. He thought it was Friday. And this went on for many weeks. Chayav al kol Shabbos v'Shabbos. In this case, he brings a separate chatas for each individual Shabbos, because what is the source root of his mistake here? It is the miscalculation of the day. He forgot that today was Shabbos. So all that he did is rooted in this miscalculation, in this shkoga, relating to the day itself, and therefore he brings one chatas for the entire day, for everything that went on throughout that day. Now, why does he bring separate chatos for each Shabbos? Although we know that, generally speaking, if one does many acts, for instance, he eats something forbidden, chelav, forbidden fats, and he eats a kazayis. He didn't realize that it was chelav, so he eats a kazayis, then 5 minutes later another kazayis, and never really realized that, it never came to mind, to his attention, that he was over on the first avera. It's regarded as one continuous shkoga, one continuous forgetfulness. It's called helem echas, and he only brings one carbon. So why in this case, asks Rashi, when he forgot that today was Shabbos, did malachas, next week again he forgot that today was Shabbos, and he hadn't yet reminded himself about his previous transgressions, why in this case do we separate the weeks? And he brings two separate chatois. Explains Rashi, because since this shkoga, this forgetfulness is a calendar-based shkoga, so chances are that Rashi says, efshar, it's impossible that it hadn't come to mind somewhere throughout the week that, yes, I made a mistake last week. It was actually not Friday, it was Shabbos. So that is regarded as a yediyah, as something which comes to mind and separates the two Shabbos We regard them as two separate forgetfulnesses, two separate shgagos, and therefore he's chayiv a separate carbon on each. Tosfos explains it's based on a different reason, since there are days in between yomim shabin time, the days in between separating the Shabbos, they make that separation between the two obligations, the two chiyuvim, chatois, needs to be a separate chatas. For each Shabbos, we regard them as two separate categories, two separate acts, two separate chiyuvim. So once again, the middle case of the Mishnah was, he knew about the concept of Shabbos. He forgot that today was Shabbos. He did many malachas. He brings a chatas for each one of those Shabbos. The third halacha in the Mishnah is, Hayideshu Shabbos. So he knows that today is Shabbos. V'asa malachis harbe b'Shabbos is harbe. Nevertheless, he didn't know that this is considered to be a malacha which is forbidden. So as a result, he did many malachis throughout many Shabbos. In this case, he needs to bring a separate chatas for each malacha. He's liable on each malacha on its own, because the shkage, the forgetfulness, relates to the actual labor performed. Chayev al kol av malacha. Malacha brings a separate chatas for each category of malachas. So, for instance, if he did chayrish and kaitzer throughout many weeks, he never knew. He forgot that chayrish is a malacha. He forgot that kaitzer is a malacha. He brings one chatas for all the charishes, for all the plowing, and one chatas for all the ktiras, for all the cutting, reaping. Concludes the Mishnah. Ha'isa malacha is harbe me'ei malacha achas. If one performs many labors, which are really related to one, they resemble one malacha. For instance, he does a couple of derivatives, a couple of telades, which are really included in the source malacha, the av malacha. So he's doing many malachas, which are really part of the same category, part of the same av malacha. In this case, ein chayav elo chatas achas. He's only liable for one chatas because it is all considered to be one, and together, since they all fall into the same category of an av malacha. Okay, time for a brief chazara of today's daf. We began with several examples of remedies, refuos, and in one of them, the Gemara gave us psukim that one is meant to read to bring that refuah. We proceeded with the halacha of these bells, these gold ornamental bells worn by the bnei melachim, by the princes. The Mishnah told us anybody can choose to wear them on Shabbos. We have two approaches. One is that our Mishnah is based on the Shita of Rav Shimon, who regards all of Yisrael as bnei melachim, as princes, and therefore it's considered to be appropriate and suitable for anybody. There's no concern that he'll be embarrassed on the inappropriateness of these bells. He is a nobleman just like the bnei melachim, and therefore it is okay. We have another approach, that the Mishnah is actually following the Shita that disagrees with Rav Shimon, and that holds that no, something which is meant for the bnei melachim is not meant to be applied to everybody. However, in this case, we allow anybody to walk out wearing these bells, since these zugin are woven and firmly affixed to his garment. There's no concern of removal. We proceeded with the concept of darki emori, which is asr. One may not follow the customs of the emorim, those non-Jews. One may not engage in these useless activities and customs, perhaps superstitious, perhaps magical, relating to the Avodah Zarah. However, according to Rav Meir, and subsequently Abaye and Rava, who explained Rav Meir's Shita, this only applies to something which is not visibly an act of refuah, but something that yesh ba mishum refuah, something which is a visible act of remedy, of refuah, of healing, of curing, is mutter. And as the Rishonim speak out, whether it's natural, whether it's supernatural, something which is a skula but is known to work, something which is known to be effective. In that case, we don't regard it as a darki emori. It's something which is a refuah, and therefore it's mutter. The Gemara gave us various examples of darki emori which were asr. We concluded with some examples which are mutter. For instance, thinning out the oil, or as the Gemara concluded, announcing when one is served wine, announcing Chamra v'chai lefum rabbanon, it should be wine and life to the mouth of the rabbanon, and lefum talmideon, to their talmidim. We began with the Mishnah, Klal Gadol Omer b'Shabbos, three categories regarding the Chi of Chatas. Number one, if one should forget about the entire concept of Shabbos, that there's such a din of Shabbos in the Torah, then regardless of how many malachas he performs, he merely brings one Chatas to address his one forgetfulness. We have the second category in the Mishnah, where one is aware about the concept of Shabbos, but rather he miscalculated on the day. In that case, he needs to bring a separate chatas for each day that he miscalculated, for each Shabbos, regardless of how many malachos he performed within that Shabbos period. And finally, we learned that if one knows about Shabbos, he actually knows today's Shabbos, but he forgot that these malachos, these specific labors are asur. In that case, he brings a separate chatas for each category, for each malacha, regardless of how many times he repeated it, regardless of how many Shabbos he performed those malachas. He brings a chatas for each specific malacha. And finally, the Mishnah concludes that one who does malachas harbe me'ei malacha achas, he performs various labors which are included in the same category, the same av malacha. He only brings one chatas for all of them together.